How's it going, YouTube? Hatchers Hits here, back with another soccer really discussion video. As right now, soccer is just going absolutely crazy. At the time of this video, it's actually right after the Champions League round of 8 draw. I'm interested to think what everybody, how everybody feels about the draw. Honestly, for me as a Real Madrid fan, I'm pretty happy about it. I don't think they're a team that really does have chance to win the Champions League, but you never know. They've been there before. They've just had a real hard time of scoring goals this year, but they got Liverpool. Liverpool's been down. Chelsea, dangerous matchup there, I think, because Porto is just really good. And my nephew was talking about this yesterday, and I kind of like did some research on it. He's like, they're really good at absorbing pressure, and then they hit you on the counter attack. And I was like, okay, I'll look into that, and I did, and it was right. And that's hard for teams to deal with sometimes, when teams can just absorb that pressure and absorb it and then counterattack and hit you like that. And then obviously you got Bayern Munich and PSG matchup from last year. That doesn't look good for Mbappe collectors. And then obviously the big one was Dortmund and Man City, not good for Holland. So I kind of want to talk about how I feel about wax prices and card prices right now. And really the short answer with soccer right now is you shouldn't be buying anything. Almost. You should not be buying anything. Wax prices have basically doubled during the Champions League. The big guys right now are Mbappe and Haaland, and the odds of them getting past Bayern Munich and PSG getting past Bayern Munich and Dortmund, especially Dortmund getting past Man City, is pretty bad. But I kind of see a same situation with Haaland that happened last year with Mbappe. Mbappe cards, like for example, this Prism card last year, very few graded copies. It was selling for about, I sold some of these for almost $3,000. And after they lost to the Champions League, this card went down to $700. The cases of everything went down, it seems. So I think it was a bit of a mixture of not a lot of graded copies during the Champions League, because it did get pushed until like August time frame, when it usually is in May, but there wasn't a lot of graded copies, and all of a sudden they lose and a ton of graded copies came back. I luckily got my PSA returns in like August or July. I can't remember where I got those, but it was like 30 chrome and like 10 prism, and I was selling these for about 1,600 at the time. They some of them for like 2,000. I still have a ton of both of these, but I kind of feel like right now, I don't think this is about $1,200 right now, which isn't bad for a base prism. The chrome is around $1,700 right now. It's finally taken over the prism as people realize that this has about a third of the population. And then you have the Future Stars, which is about $600 and has about 300 graded copies. I want to say most of them, probably about 200 of them are 10, something like that. I didn't get a chance to check the numbers. One thing I think is interesting about Mbappe right now is the 2017 Select Unlimited Potential has seen a big rise lately. It's like up to around $2,300, which it's a great card, but people are comparing that card to these cards. These are base cards. There's going to be a big population of these compared to an insert like this. You should compare the Unlimited Potential insert and its population to this card. Don't compare them this base card. A lot of people are comparing it and saying, well, there's 3,000 of this, 1,000 of this, and only like 200 or something of the limited potential. Yes, that's low, but it's not low for a base card. It's an insert. If it was a base card, yeah, that'd be really low. But for an insert card that's hard to pull in the first place anyway, and a lot of people just don't like insert cards. They want a rookie base card. More people will want this than they want that. I mean, it could end up being a good investment. I don't know. I feel that it's too much money for an insert card which I'm a little bit biased because I'm not invested in them, but I just think it's kind of ridiculous that an insert is selling for more than base cards. That's just how I feel about it. But the next one is Joao Felix, talking about him. Obviously, they lost against Chelsea. He was kind of the only bright spot, but didn't score any goals or anything. But these are around $800 right now. They have seen a lot of growth lately, but I feel like he's still due for a breakout. I think they really watch him in the Euros this year. If Portugal does well and Joao and Ronaldo are really hitting it off, be prepared for that to spike. Jadon, these are only $500 right now. I should have brought the rated rookie in here and talked about that as well. I don't know why I didn't, because I have several of them. But these are about $500 right now. I think he's a little banged up. I would assume he'd be ready in time for the Manchester City game. But with Jadon, I still think he's a decent buy. But I don't know. All of this to me is a wait and see. Fatih Sapphire, got several of these. These have actually spiked from $1,300 to $2,000 lately because he had his, I guess, third surgery. How does that even happen in today's medical world? But these have spiked up to $2,000 from $1,300. I still think Fatih is an excellent investment. I don't know if right now is the time to buy. I mean, $2,000 seems a bit much. And then, of course, here's this guy. I mean, what are you going to say about Holland? The Sapphire is sitting at about $4,100 right now. The thing you have to remember with Holland is I feel like it's kind of where we might see a Mbappe situation last year where you didn't have a whole there really aren't a lot of Holland cards graded right now. I mean, there's only a couple hundred of these Sapphire, and it has a 60% gem rate about for him and Fatih. And you have to ask yourself, how much of this stuff is actually at PSA right now and going to be coming back? Somebody worked out based on case numbers. There's about 4,000 of these raw Holland that eventually are going to be in those boxes. We don't know how many of them have been ripped, obviously, but I think a lot of them. I mean, I ripped 20 of them and still have more, but those boxes are around $1,500 to $1,700 right now. That's a point in it where it's getting risky. I mean, honestly, at $1,500, you could get anything in soccer, it's going to be very good or very bad. $1,500 is risky. When it was around $1,000, I think it was a for sure thing. And I actually bought a couple boxes at about $800 a piece, but I haven't bought in a while. But I think it's really telling to see what will happen if it's a Mbappe situation from last year where he loses, they crash out of the Champions League, then a ton of product floods the market where all of his PSA cards are coming back. Because you have to remember, a lot of people's Holland, and I have about 100 Holland cards at PSA right now. I'm not kidding. I have about 40 Chrome, about 10 more of these, a ton of Finest, about 20 Finest card, and a bunch of Bundesliga. I have a lot. And I don't really care what I just want to pay for what I collect. So what's in my PC, it's not really about making money for me in this. If I can get my collection for free, that's my goal. If I can collect one of these, get two of these, sell one to pay for one, great, that's a win for me. So yeah, I just think there's a lot of Holland right now at PSA, and it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the market when all that stuff comes back. Mbappe was like, you had that situation with the 2014 Prism, Messi and CR7. There was only like 100 copies graded, so everybody was like, oh my gosh, spending $4,000 on these cards. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, there's got to be a ton of these base cards out there. What happens when PSA opens up the grading presses again after COVID and all of it floods the market? And I don't want to say I told you so, but I saw that coming, and that can happen a lot in this, where you had 100 copies, people overpay, and then all of a sudden the market floods and those things crash to like $400 or $500. I mean, can you imagine paying 4,000 for a card, and then a few months later that card's worth $500? That would just crush me. I mean, honestly, that would be bad. But it is what it is. I mean, they are trending back up to about $1,000. I think investing in the goats, as you'll see what I have in this kind of mail day review. But back to Holland and the Sapphire. I think one of the best buys right now is actually Holland PSA 9s. And the reason I say that is because the PSA 9 right now is about $1,500. A BGS 9.5 is about $2,200. So if you like BGS, instead of I guess you could take honestly, a raw card probably is going to be your best bet. But if you can't find that, most of these will get the PSA 9 because of surface issues. But usually, other than the surface issues, they're great. And then, so your odds of getting a 9.5, which, that's a $700 difference between a PSA 9 and a BGS 9.5. So this is basically what I'm doing. I cracked one of mine. I have two others here I'm going to crack. Submit to BGS. I've never submitted to BGS, so we'll see how that works out. But, yeah, or I'm going to try to find somebody to submit for me. I'll have to look into it. But to me, that's if you had to make a play with Holland right now, I think that's probably the best thing. Either buy a raw card for about $800 or $900 that has scratches, surface issues. That's probably going to get a PSA 9. I think there's only one PSA 8 and one PSA 6 or something like that last time I checked. So buying a raw card for $800 or $900, I think they're still around that. Getting it graded by PSA, if you're okay with a PSA 9. Or buy that or a PSA 9 and you just cross-grade it up to a BGS 9.5, hopefully. It's still a chance, but, you still could get a BGS 9. But I think that's the best play right now with Holland, in my opinion. The Bundesliga base is sitting at around $3,000. The Holland Finest is $2,300. That's gone up like crazy as people realize it's the only chromium card that is in his Salzburg uniform, if you don't include crystal and stuff like that, and most people don't. But yeah, that's just absolutely gone skyrocketing as people realize, oh wait, that's the only one. And honestly, I feel that the Finest, the Bundesliga one, that short print, the extended base, that thing is crazy, is going to be crazy rare. And it shows, and I don't know what the last one sold for. I should have looked it up, but I know there's some on eBay for around $10,000. And those extended base were 2 per case, and I think there's 16 cards in that set. So that Holland card would be what, 1 in every 8 cases? I mean, we're talking about just one step below Color Blast as far as rare goes, because people are saying those are about 1 in every 10 cases. But anyway, as I said, in the short term, I think now is one of the worst times to buy soccer. I think it's a time to just kind of sit back and wait and see what happens. Except one thing that I think the return on investment is pretty good right now. But just to show you what some of the stuff I'm going to be, I did open up a bunch of Chrome off camera. I kind of felt like I've posted way too much of it. Nobody wants to see me open more of that stuff. So we did hit a red Tete. Got a Mason Mount. Has some surface issues on it, but I still think it's worth grading. I mean, what am I going to do? Sell that for $50? Ta Gold. Not real sure about him, but again, what am I going to do? Sell the card for $10 or something like that? Might as well pay the $20, get it graded. Maybe someone will buy $100 for it. Maybe there's a top fan out there. Koita, Refractor, Kane. EPL is always good to get graded of the top stars, I feel. Even if you're going to, the way I look at grading now is be okay with getting a PSA 9. If you can submit something, I know that they're $20 a card now, and that's really, or wait, what is it, 25 a card? Or is it 20? I can't remember. I think it's 25 a card. Be okay with getting a PSA 9. So if, say, I just don't like selling singles. I know I do 99-cent auctions here and there just to get rid of stuff, but I hate selling singles. It's just I hate it. So for me, it's like, if you're okay with getting a PSA 9 of this, and say you can get $40 for it if it gets a PSA 9, well, you're in it for $25. So what are you going to do? Sell this card for $5 or $10, or you might get the PSA 10 and turn around and sell it for $100. You don't know. It's a risk. It's all a risk. But we got Christian Pulisic short print. These are really hard. These should sell for more than a Sapphire. I don't know if they're going to, because they're a lot harder pull than Sapphire. Sapphires are 1 in 5 boxes. You get one of these in every box. Whereas the Chrome is 1 per case. So this is a 1 in 5 case card. Unfortunately, it has a surface line, so I think it'll get a PSA 9, but I'm okay with that. We hit a Messi bubble. These are probably the worst 6 boxes I've opened, and probably thinking about it now that these are selling for over $1,000 is a bad rip. But got a Ronaldo refractor. We hit a Fat T. We hit 2 more Holland. Makes it about 40 of those that I have. This is what I'm saying. I have 40 of these at PSA right now. So think about what that'll do to the market when those come back. Yeah. If I decide to sell, I'm going to resubmit this carbon fiber Fatty. I didn't really agree with the assessment. Got some Mason Mount, Footballer Flash. Lewandowski to me is still undervalued. But you could have he plays for Poland, man. And what's going to happen to Holland whenever the World Cup comes around and Norway doesn't do much, I mean, he could make them better. I'm sure he'll make them better. Kang and Lee, Holland and Royce. We did hit this gold of Kevin De Bruyne to 50. That's going to be a nice card. I think he should trend up, especially if Man City wins the Champions League. That's a crazy thing about Man City and really Bayern. There's the 2 best teams arguably right now, and they don't really have anybody on their team that people want to invest in. That's the rub about having teams that you kind of win by as a group as opposed to one player. I mean, I know with Bayern, Lewandowski scores most of the goals, but he didn't score in the final last year. I think if he would have scored in the final last year, it would have been a bit better. But anyway, so we got Timo Werner, Speckle. These are 1 in 9 packs, really hard to hit, a lot harder to hit than refractors, 3 times actually. Tammy Abraham to 150. We got a Son refractor, another Fatih card that I guess I missed. Kai Havertz. Then these have really been trending up lately. The finest of Mbappe. I was surprised to see how much these are selling for in a PSA 10, because 1, they're hard to grade because of surface issues. Like this one has a small surface issue. I think it'll get a PSA 9, but for me it's to 150, and it's definitely worth submitting it anyway. So that's kind of how I'm thinking with PSA. We'll see. I kind of have these cards just sitting aside, and when I feel like submitting, I might not submit them all at one time, especially since PSA changed the bulk to you could do like, what is it, 20 card minimum. It used to be like a 50 and then 100 card minimum. So anyway, last thing is one of my biggest purchases, and it's this guy. Yeah, you know this guy, Lionel Andreas Messi. I bet a lot of people didn't know his middle name was. I didn't know his middle name was Andreas until I saw this card. So this is the one thing that I think is still kind of undervalued. These boxes spiked up to about $7,000 a few weeks ago and just dipped down to about $5,000. I actually picked up 2 of these boxes for about that. One in auction and one I got from a guy in Germany. I'm going to open up one. Basically what I did is I watched all of Cyrus's 35 videos of this, and I came and I kind of tracked his pulls of Messi and Ronaldo, and he pulled 23 Ronaldos out of 35 boxes, 25 Messis. He hit a Messi and Ronaldo 18 times out of the 35 boxes, and only 3 times did he not get a Messi or Ronaldo, which to me is really good odds. I mean, if you happen to hit one of those boxes that doesn't have Messi or Ronaldo, that is bad. But the backup thing to that is there's so many good foil cards that are selling for tons. There's Zidane, there's Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, Ronaldinho is in it, Kaká, those Brazilians. Then you got who else? Gerard, I think, is in it as a foil. He might be. And you got Beckham. You got Rooney. Zlatan is probably the highest selling metal card. Maybe either that or it's like a foil card. I say metal, but it's like a foil card. And I think I want to say the Zlatan or the Ronaldo. I want to say they're selling for about $2,000. And then you got to figure it's a pack fresh card. This guy actually advertised it as mint, and I bought this from a guy in Argentina. I was like, okay, I'll take a shot at it. He said he had 2 of them. It was $1,000, and I got this card, and it's absolutely phenomenal. So hopefully that'll grade well. But even if you get a PSA 9 in the Messi and Ronaldo, I think they're selling for like $2,000, $2,500. So I'm actually planning on a 500 subscriber special coming up. Spoiler alert. I'm going to probably open one of my boxes of 2006 World Cup Germany, and then we're going to do a review of it, and then I'll do a PSA review of it when they all come back. Unfortunately, it'll probably be like, some of the cards will probably be, I'll probably do like maybe not express, but kind of like, I don't know, one of the faster levels. So hopefully I get it back in a few months. The thing about the 2006 World Cup Germany that could keep it relatively high for those players is the gem rate is really low. The gem rate on this is 13% right now, and it's weirdly enough 13% with Ronaldo. The foil cards are anywhere from like 20 to 30%, so it's really hard to grade these cards. So the gem ones are really getting a premium, but a lot of pack fresh cards are showing up at PSA, so it really kind of, just a month ago, this was a 10% gem rate. It's risen. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if it's trending up with the gem rate, I think as long as you stay under 20%, I think you're probably going to be pretty good. But I think the last sale of this card was like $15,000 in a PSA 10. Absolutely crazy if you ask me. But I mean, it's Ronaldo and Messi's first World Cup. You got so many grades with Beckham, Zidane, Ronaldo, Kaká, Ronaldinho. There's so much in that box. And I kind of feel like even if you don't get a Messi and Ronaldo in the box, you're probably going to get about $5,000 worth of value in it. So that's kind of just how I see the market right now. In closing, I would just say wax right now, especially EPL Prism, is a horrible investment. I would stay far away from wax right now. A lot of singles of some of these hot stars, graded copies of Haaland, even though I have a lot of them, and Mbappe, I personally would wait till after the Champions League, or if Mbappe or Haaland lose, I think their cards will take a dip. I don't know how much. I think Haaland's kind of a wait and see. We'll see what happens, but I just think there's a lot of Haaland out there that's still going to be graded. So I think we're going to see trending down. But the Sapphire is probably the one for me in the Bundesliga that'll probably kind of hold their own. I think there's a lot of chrome out there. So anyway, hope that kind of that's just kind of how I'm feeling about the market right now. I thought it'd be interesting to have kind of a video just to kind of talk about how I feel. I know I don't do all the graphs and everything and edits and kind of stuff like that, but it's just kind of me talking about the market. I honestly don't have time to do all those edits. So anyway, thanks for watching. Good luck. Hope it's a fun Champions League. I'm really looking forward to a lot of the games. It's my favorite time of the year, and just looking really forward to it. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and good luck ripping if you are. I really, really, really mean that. Take care.